and bienvenidos to Pica Poco Kitchen's editor's room. And today we're making fruit ponche. Vámonos! Besides rompope, ponche is another very popular drink that you'll see in Mexico throughout the month of December and even will make its way all the way to January. It is a warm, filling, satisfying drink that it's full of flavor, fruits, vitamins, and many other good things. It originated in India by the name of pak, which means 5 because there were 5 ingredients in the original recipe, which were wine, water, sugar, lemon, and tea. Obviously, that recipe evolved, got its way to England, to Spain, and then it made its way to Mexico, where the indigenous communities added their own touch to it, and it became the drink that we love to have in a posada today. It is very simple to put together. It has some peculiar ingredients, and I think that's the most interesting part about it. So let me tell you about that first, and then we'll go to make it. Let's talk about the ingredients. First, for the infusion. For that, for our base of the flavor for ponche, we're gonna start with a handful or a quarter of a cup of hibiscus flowers, which is Jamaica flower. We are also going to use 6 pieces of tamarind fruit. These ones are already shelled and deveined. I have a video on how to make candy with tamarind if you're interested over there. We are also going to flavor the ponche with 2 prunes. I'm just going for 2 because we're already getting enough fiber from the rest of the fruits, so I want to keep it low in terms of the fruity prunes. We're also going to spice up our ponche with a nice stick of cinnamon and 1 piece of clove. For sweeteners, I'm going for Piloncillo as always to keep it traditional. I'm going for 14 ounces. You can do more or less. That's going to be up to you. If you can't find Piloncillo, you can always use brown sugar. On the fruit section, I think that the most emblematic ingredient for ponche is going to be tejocote. Tejocote is a native fruit from Mexico that grows in the mountainous regions. Its name, Tejocotes from Nahuatl, means hard, bitter fruit or stone bitter fruit because it's hard. It is also on the raw, it has a bitter flavor. That's why you will most likely find it in candied form, either jams, marmalades, pastes, or just with a syrup. Or like in this case, in a ponche. This is a very traditional December fruit in Mexico. Some people also call them manzanitas, little apples, because of their look. I'm gonna keep them whole the simplest way, but some people like to pre-cook them and peel the skin off before adding it to the ponche, but I'm going simple route. Another December classic are guavas. These are Mexican baby guavas. They are fragrant, they have a lot of flavor, and they go perfectly well with everything else. Another December classic, if you remember, I used them to make the syrup for buñuelos. If you haven't seen that, I have a video for that as well. And for the rest of the fruits, I'm just going for an apple. I like to use Gala because it's firm and juicy, and a danger pear. Same reason, because we're gonna maybe reheat these ponches, so we want to preserve as much of the integrity of these fruits. Now another star from these, there's many stars in this ponche, is going to be sugar cane. And this is how sugar cane looks like. I don't know if you've seen it before. It is a very interesting and we tend to forget how the ingredients that we use on a day-to-day basis look like in its natural form. So this is only half of the stick that I got from my store. The rest of it I've already prepped. I have it here peeled and cut into quarters. I will show you how to get from this to that in a second. And you're gonna be able to adapt, adjust this ponche to your liking. There's not a specific recipe. Every family has their own, but also take whatever your likings are and adapt it to make the ponche the best for you and your family. If you can find some of the fruits, you can swap them or skip them and adapt the tartness, the sweetness to whatever fits you best. But now that we have everything ready, let's put it together. To cut the sugar cane, I summoned the help of my husband and his machete. Each one of us held an end of the sugar cane, supporting them on a table, and then he just went for it. Maybe you're lucky enough and in your store they already sell it cut and peeled. If not, this is how I did it and I hope it helps. Just proceed with caution. Also, you can ask your store, maybe they'll be kind enough to cut it for you. And now with more manageable pieces, I'll proceed to take the skin off. For that, I'm gonna be using the help of a handy peeler. I know people use knives, but I find it a little bit dangerous, and it also cuts away a little bit more of the fruit. With the peeler, you have more control holding it and taking as much as you need, and you can go back if you need to. Be careful in the nuts, you can either wiggle it or just come back around. It is really easy at this point. The important part is to have smaller pieces that you can hold on to. From this point on, if you want, you can just even it out and cut it in smaller pieces. I'm cutting the ends that were exposed and also just the uneven bits to make it look nicer, but you don't have to do that. For the little fibers like that, you can. When it comes to cut it against the fibers, you are going to need a little bit of pressure and force. Go as far as you can go with your knife and then spin the sugar cane and do it again until you go all around the fruit and you get a clean cut. Be careful not to hit it too hard so your knife doesn't go against the board because you can damage it. Cutting on the fibers is really simple. Just make sure to have a stable position and go for it. I'd cut mine into quarters because I find them to be the most satisfying chewable size. And now the easy part, which is putting everything together. I'll have 10 cups of water and I will start by adding my piloncillo so it starts melting, as well as my aromatics, the cinnamon, the clove, the Jamaica flowers, the tamarind, which you could substitute for 3 to 4 tamarind pulp tablespoons. Don't forget your prunes. And after 5 minutes or so, I'm gonna start adding my tejocotes so they have enough time to cook. For those, the only thing I did is holler them. I took off the little bit that used to be the flour and drop them in. After 10 minutes and when the piloncillo is completely dissolved, I'll proceed with the guavas. For the guavas, I also took off the leafy end and cut them in quarters. I sliced my apple and cut those slices in half. And I did the same with the pear. I should have told you that before adding the fruits. If you prefer, you can fish out the hibiscus flowers. It's going to be a little bit tricky, but it's doable if you want your ponche to be a little bit more guest friendly. You can rinse your sugar canes before adding them. And now we're just gonna mix it and let it boil. When it boils, you can turn it off and let it sit. Check your tejocotes and give it a taste. And here it is. If you ask me how those posadas smell and taste like, is this right here. You need to let it cool a little bit if you don't want to burn your mouth. All the fruits are perfectly smooth and soft. And together with the sweetness and the rest of the flavors, they balance each other so well. And of course, we can't forget about the sugar cane. This right here, it was my favorite part as a child. I leave it at last because the only thing you do with this is just chew on it and suck on it. So that's another thing that you need to know. This is not an aesthetics drink. There's a lot of seeds in different fruits. The tejocote has seeds, the tamarind has seeds, the guava has seeds. The guava seeds are okay to eat. Just be careful when you bite on them. Sometimes they can be a little bit hard, so avoid that. The tejocote seeds and the tamarind seeds you have to spit out. So it's not going to be a nice looking drink to drink, but it is perfectly normal. It's just what it is. So have that in mind. Have a napkin in hand as well so you can discard the pits and seeds of the fruits. But it's about enjoying, it's about just being in the moment and just having a good time. A very holiday season drink. It's everything you need. So I hope you give it a try. And if you do enjoy this recipe, just like this video, please share it with your friends. Like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.